We're back in live land. The liveness continues. How live can you be? So live. Well, so like I'm wearing the professor's jacket again, which means I'm going to talk about a bunch of means I'm not going to talk about jazz. Wait a minute. Well, so I was playing "Oh Carol," very shabbily, but that was the point. The shabbiness was the point. Whoa, so heavy already. So anyways, hey, that's "Oh Carol" by Chuck Berry. You knew that, right? Yeah, you knew that. So anyways, this is "Oh Carol" by Chuck Berry. And famously, in this great movie called Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll, there's this scene where Keith Richards is playing that part. And Chuck Berry is like, no, you're playing that part wrong, man. That slur is begun. It's begun from here. That's what Chuck is trying to tell Keith. Keith's trying to, Josh, what's up? The lovely Aaron is also watching. So anyways, Chuck is telling Keith that slur is begun bent. And so anyways, they get into a little argument about it, which is like, oh, I just love watching that scene. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And so anyways, I guess, isn't it weird that I like all this really old stuff? It just occurred to me. The thought just occurred to me. But anyway, so back to rock and roll music. So Chuck Berry, perhaps, is definitely regarded as, one of the key architects of rock and roll music. I am wearing the professor jacket, so I have to use terms like a key architect. So anyways, and I suppose Chuck's main kind of thing was actually, beyond just the guitar playing, was lyrically. Like, his lyrics were incredible, and so his idea was that he was gonna take country stuff and put it together with R&B stuff. And his notion was that he could then reach a bigger audience. Interesting again, like, remember I was talking about Johnny Ramone? Johnny Ramone wanted to be a big major thing. Now Chuck is creating rock and roll so he can be a big major thing, so he can reach big audience. Interesting. It's like all these great artists really want to sell 1 million records. They're all sellouts. Every one of them is a sellout. I remember when so anyways, I did write a paper about Chuck Berry. I actually wrote it for my teacher, the famous Rob Bowman. Hi Rob, if you're out there. I really loved all your classes. And anyways, I would go on about money and stuff so much, like the fact that all these people are sellouts. I didn't put it like that, but I was kind of always talking about the monetary angle of this. That one time I incited him to throw a bunch of money across the classroom table. Anyway, so talking about Chuck here, the thing that I wrote about was this performance he did at the Newport Jazz Festival. Jazz. So anyways, Chuck was invited to play at the Newport Jazz Festival, and his backup band was basically kind of like, well, it had the drummer from the Count Basie Orchestra in it, and it had a lot of very famous other jazz performers, like, for instance, Jack Teagarden. You all know Jack Teagarden. It does have the patches. That's right. The professorial status is confirmed, Josh. Anyways, so he's playing with all these jazz guys, and like the urban legend about it is that they're all laughing at Chuck. They're laughing at his tomfoolishness. Maybe Chuck actually intended that. What with my whole thing about comedy and rock music going together. But the thing is that when I watch the movie, I don't see them laughing. I think they're just having a good time. And Chuck is playing Sweet Little 16, and it's just fun. It's just great stuff. And so these jazz guys, they're just kind of messing around and they're just having fun. So it's, I don't know, it wasn't like sometimes you read about it, it's like Chuck incited a riot with his rock and roll music. But I don't know, it's just like people were dancing, having a good time. Anyways, if you haven't watched that video, it's one of the greatest rock videos ever. The lighting in it is incredible. Which brings me to my next point, is that I think that rock and roll, I've been going on about how rock is like, I don't know, I'm talking about these broad terms about all kinds of music. But rock music and videos go together. rock music, it comes about at the time of television. Aaron wants me to point out that Jack Teagarden is a good name. This show is also on a side note about noting great names. Anyways, so rock music kind of comes into being at the time when TV comes into being. Am I right? You follow my thinking here? What is the kind of the people call, the big moment in rock and roll is when the Beatles played on Ed Sullivan. And then what's another big moment is MTV existing, music videos. All I used to do was watch rock music videos. This is all I did. This is the whole thing I did. And what was Chuck Berry really good at being on TV, being a performer? He was incredible at this. So this is surely part of what makes him such a great guitar player. And so did you notice how I was like screwing up horribly when we were playing at first? I don't care. The thing that I learned about from transcribing that performance, Yoski's here, what's up? Well, the thing that I learned from transcribing that performance that Chuck did of Sweet Little 16 at the Newport Jazz Festival was that he was making mistakes like all over the place. And it didn't really matter because the rhythm kind of kept up. He kind of kept pumping along. He just kind of kept it going, and it kind of like lent something of there was kind of charm to it for some reason, because of all these little tiny mistakes. And so I've always been into that. I've always loved players who are a little bit messy. Like, have you ever heard of a guy called Jimmy Page? He's kind of a bit of a mess. Anyway. My relationship with Jimmy Page is on and off. Anyways, I'm going to try a different Chuck Berry song. No one has anything to say about all my wild musings at this time? Even Aaron? The only thing you got to say is that Jack Teagarden is a guy? I'm saying crazy wild things here. I'm alleging that rock music is inherently video related. Trip! Everything is wrong since me and my baby parted all day long. I'm walking cause I couldn't get my car started later from a job, and I can't afford to check it. I wish somebody come along and run it to and wreck it. Come on, since my baby parted, come on. I can't get it started, come on. Try to make you see that I belong to you, honey, and you belong to me. Isn't that like the wildest? Yeah, shave it. Whoa, I don't know if that's a shave and a haircut 2 bits there, Zach. I don't know that it is. I think shave and a haircut and 2 bits is... hold on. Even though I don't know that it is quite that. But anyways, isn't that like the stinkiest solo you've ever heard in your life? I kind of want to do it again. Like, what is that? Chuck just doesn't care. And yes, Zach, you are live. And now Ian is watching. Freak out. Yo, Ian, Zach is watching too. Anyway, so yeah, I love that solo. It doesn't even make sense. It's just total nonsense. And I am wearing a professorial jacket. Look at me wearing my professorial jacket. So if we want to get fancy about it, if we imagine that song is in the key of E. Is it in E? I don't know what it's in. Whatever. But let's imagine that he's doing that over an E. He's playing like a flat 5 and a flat 9. There is no more jazz than flat 5s and flat 9s. Look at my eyes. It's serious. I'm wearing a jacket like this. Yeah, word. Word up, Ian. Anyways, I feel like I need the lovely Aaron, or else this show is it's just flat. It's just me ranting about jazz and nonsense. Anyways, we'll be back. I think the format, we're going to be returning to the late night format. I hope you're all enjoying it. Oh,